What's up, everybody? It's your favorite breaker of trails, favorite nerd, and today we are looking at Fanstoys Outrider, maybe? I can't remember. Their Trailbreaker. I got this from Nick the Toy Guy. His information will be in the description. Check him out. He carries most of the Fanstoys stuff. Tell him Scully sent you. Outside of that, we're gonna go through this guy. We're gonna talk about the accessories, but there is one thing I want to talk about first, and that is the packaging. Now, you guys know I don't really talk about packaging on the channel, but this packaging is just so different from what Fanstoys has done in the past that I think it's worth talking about. Now, I don't think that this is done because Takara has a Trailbreaker coming. I don't think that has anything to do with it. However, I do think that Takara is at the base of their decision for this. My guess would be that they are trying to distance themselves from that entirely. Fanstoys, since the very beginning, has had a very close, mirroring almost model of packaging to Takara. My guess would be is that they're trying to get out of that. I think that this also might suggest that this is I would guess the line work, so it doesn't have the artist there anymore. I'm not sure if that is indicative of anything as well, but something worth mentioning. But it just put me off place because I'm just used to Fanstoys stuff looking a certain way. Like the same way that a lot of people are used to Batman looking a certain way. But sometimes you gotta settle for a runner-up. Anyway, let's go ahead and take a look at this guy, but in order to do so, we need to talk about accessories. So he comes with a left hand. This is to, swap out with the weapon hand that kind of comes with it in stock. It's articulated the same way as his right hand, which we will talk about when we talk about the figure. He also comes with 3 different faces. We have the screaming face. We have a more stoic face, but he already kind of comes with a stoic face, but it's a slightly more stoic, more serious, and then another yelling face. And these two almost look identical. They might be identical. I don't know. Maybe this one's a bit more exaggerated, but it's very, very similar. I'm not sure if that was entirely needed. I think one of those would have been just fine. And then maybe they could have given us a smiling face or something, like a subtle smile, though, nothing too doofy. He comes with a gun. Now, there is something interesting about this gun. Hold on one second. This is the MP Bumblebee gun. I mean, I think that it's pretty obvious. I mean, some of the details are just their exact copies. It's just so strange. I expect more from Fanstoys. This is pretty disappointing. This was pointed out to me by a viewer. I'm not that clever, but, I mean, come on, dude. Anyway, it's painted silver, and he will hold it just fine. And lastly, he comes with his radar dish. It's completely chromed out, sculpted well, and beautiful. Now, there's a flap where his head connects to that you'll see when we go through transformation that this plugs into if you'd like to use it. But when we go through the transformation, we're going to have it covered up. We're going to flip it around. All you have to do to use this, when you go to vehicle mode, just don't flip this piece. And this piece is a nightmare, which you'll see. But don't flip it to this side, to the smooth side. Just keep it open like that, and you'll be able to utilize the accessory. Gimmicks-wise, the car door does open up and close. Normally, I would cover this in just the vehicle mode, but I forgot to, so I'm just plugging it in now and acting like it's all meant to be. Let's talk about the figure, and we will first start off with one of my biggest issues, which is right there on the head. Now, it may not be super obvious to you right now, but trust me, I've put forth a lot of effort to get this neck flap stuck in. It wants to pop out. Now, that's definitely better, but you see there's still a gap, and it's noticeable. And the moment that you go to articulate the head, it becomes undone. It's very frustrating. That's unacceptable, specifically for the price point. All right, head is on a hinge swivel, so the head will get up to there, which is fine. Nothing really down, and then the swivel, that's all you got. You have this bit here. It articulates on a hinge at the base where it is connected, as well as a secondary hinge where... Actually, that's maybe that's a ball peg, I guess. Yeah, it's a ball peg, so pardon me. So fully articulated, that's nice. This has a hinge back here and then a secondary hinge as well up here. so you can kind of get that. I do wish this was a bit over, because it does kind of bump into his head a fair bit, just a little weird. Whatever. Let's see. Okay, so shoulders. Shoulders, unfortunately, are another issue here. Now, I will say that the figure is painted. It has a nice kind of metallic paint throughout. The pearlescent and the black looks fantastic, and the red even better, and the metallic blue on the eyes. All of that stuff is good to go. Shoulders. So we have a hinge at the shoulder where the base is. I'll try to get this out of the way. And this one is like you see, it doesn't want to come up all the way. This one does. Let me see if I can't. It's the side mirror. You just got to work it around. So that's fine. If it had a secondary hinge that was here, it would allow for a lot more character. Now you do have a soft ratchet around, so that's fine. But I have found them to be a little limiting as I've been manipulating this guy. Paint, beautiful. Bicep swivel, single hinged elbow that gets you slightly more than 90 degrees. So not great. Not terrible, but not great. Wrist swivel, thumb is on a base ball peg that comes out to a secondary hinge. The fingers are on a base pin knuckle and then have a secondary knuckle, but the fingers at the tips are kind of bent for no good reason. So frustrating. Like, just make them straight. You just make them straight. Now they look weird. Unfortunate. Same for the other side, except we have the chrome gun, and the packaging, it does come collapsed. Just extend it. No problems there. For this part, this is probably one of my favorite parts. From now on, the figure gets pretty good. The metallic paint looks beautiful on it. The chrome on the front bumper looks beautiful on it. All of the kind of accents for the vehicle mode come through nicely. It's a deep, dark, translucent blue, so it looks better than the X-Transbots in that regard, where you don't see all the innards. We have a waist swivel, that's no problem. We have an ab crunch to 90 degrees, that's no problem. So now we're cooking. Love to see it. So then we move on to here, universal joints, full Van Damme. Forward and back. Forward for the full Monty, back not so much, but more than you would ever need. Ratcheted as well. Thigh swivel. Beautiful red metallic paint. Ratcheted knee that gets you a little bit past 90 degrees, so that's not ideal, but not terrible. Ankles. Ankle tilt up slightly, ankle tilt down slightly, and then a rocker. So ankles are a little weak as well, but the hips and abdomen and all that work functionally quite well. And there it is from the back. Pretty good. QC34 pass, not sure how I feel about you, 34. You should have recognized that this head doesn't sit down inside of the neck, which is dumb. Size comparison wise, there he is with Takara's Inferno and Sunstreaker. So I think he fits in nicely. He would be a little bit shorter. You have to imagine that his head is pegged in. But he would fit in nicely if his head was down all the way, I guess. And there he is with X-Transbots Trailbreaker. And we'll be doing a versus of these this week, I hope, for those that want the MMC and the Bag Cube to be in the mix. Unfortunately, I don't have either of those, so we'll just be doing these two. But hopefully it'll give you some sort of an idea. I think I may have used those in another versus, so hopefully you can take all the notes and kind of compare. Let's get it transformed. So open this up, flip out the wheel. You can combine or wars this down a taste. Not a whole bunch, but a taste. Take this piece, flip these flaps in. This one kind of sits all the way flat. This one just a bit. That flips in. Take this, flip that to the bottom. Flip the toe in, flip that around, and kind of squish all that down and combine it back. Next, open up this panel, flip this panel around 180, close this panel. Now we'll repeat the same thing for the other side. We got to open up this whole section here, take the tire, flip it out and around. Then combiner wars the leg down just a little bit. Fold in your flaps here. One will collapse all the way, the other one not so much. Fold that in, and then fold this over. And then for the heel, flip that to the opposite side, flip the toe in, and then you can take the legs and combine them. But first, let's do this. Open this up, flip that around, and then do that. And make sure you're nice and combined. Next, we're gonna open up these flaps here, spin the hand around 180, make sure it's a fist, and then flip that in, and then you can close the flap back up. For this side, very similar. We're gonna open that rather. Collapse your chrome blaster there, flip that in, and flip that as well. You can detach the head, it'll come detached very easily. Open up all this. From the back here, we want to start, actually while we're here, let's go ahead and flip this piece up from the head as well. There we go, that piece comes up. And these pieces start to come out. And this piece starts to come down. This piece obviously flips around. Same on this side. Make sure that you clear the head around this weapon here. You kind of have to bend the plastic against itself. Not ideal. But get that up and out of the way. At which point you can flip the whole head in. Make sure that the roof of the vehicle is kind of flat up against there. And then tuck these weapons in. Make sure that the ball peg is visible from the bottom here. And this one you kind of want to collapse like that so that the head, there's room for it as you flip this in. And then you can bring down, make sure that your side components here are as they should be. And bring this down and lock all that in. It's just rotate the tires around 180 and they'll snap into place. There's also this piece on the roof that you have to flip. It's very tight, which is why I've already started it off camera, but that'll just make a nice smooth roof for you. All right, then you wanna open up this panel here, flip up the window, and this piece comes down. God, it's a tight fit on that piece. All right. Then flip this joint around, and you want to take this and fold it in. But as you do so, let's see here. You want to have it so that this panel here that flips open is facing you. So we're going to do that on this side as well. Take this, open up, open up, open up. God bless, open up. Bring in, flip in. Make sure that we have our panel facing us. And rotate in. All right, then bring your windows up and around, and they'll plug in here to the sides. There's like a, if you look here, there's like a small tab that kind of fits in that notch. And there's a couple moving pieces, so it can be a little frustrating, but just work with it, you'll get it. All right, so now we'll just bring this down, connect that with our other pieces here to the best of our ability. And then we're going to bring this up, flip this over, and just start plugging everything in. And just work with it. There's a number of different like connection points. I'm having a little bit of a difficulty. Almost there. It's right here. It's getting this one little piece there to fit in. But I will do my best. There we go. Pretty tight there on that side anyway. So I just got to fight with the other side and get it sorted. But yeah, I'll clean it up. We'll take a look at it. And there's the alt mode. Cleans up like a champ. Rolls like a champ. Nice deco. The metallic paint comes through nicely. The blue translucent's a little darker. I would have preferred it to be metallic, but it's a little darker, so it hides a lot of the innards a lot better. We have the stripes on there. I'm not crazy about the translucent red for the brake lights, but I quite like it for the hazard lights and up front, which is nice. Blinkers are painted. Chrome bumper, which I love. Chrome rims, which I love. All of that stuff works very well for me. See, I like that painted window. I prefer it. Same with up here. I just prefer it over the translucent. That's me. Cleans up pretty well underneath. You know, rubber tires. No real issues. And the transformation bar, some pieces that just feel like they need to get broken in a little. It's quite enjoyable, fun, and interesting. And I think that Fanstoys needs a little bit more credit in that department. Like, gone are the days where it makes you want to rip your hair out. Now, I say that, and obviously the next one will be just that, right? Because that's my luck. But, like, do we remember, like, the days of, like, Cup in that era? Like, it sucked. You know, and now it's like most of the recent ones have been pretty smooth. You know, like, smoother than Takara, in my opinion. You know, like, I think that a lot of the more recent Fanstoys stuff has put stuff like, you know, Takara Hound to shame, you know? So, I don't know. Bumblebee as well. So, yeah, I'm happy with this. But let me show you what it looks like next to Tiger Tracks. I just saw a Lamborghini in real life recently, the first time ever, like, on the road. And I'll tell you, it was a lot smaller than I imagined. Obviously, it's not the same style as Tiger Tracks because times have changed and such. But it was a lot smaller. Significantly smaller. Like, I feel like I could have put my arms out and touched it at both ends. But we're not here to really talk about that. We're here to talk about some final thoughts, so let's do that. Final thoughts wise, let's start with the negative. My biggest issue here is that the neck doesn't tab in properly. You can get it and it holds with tension, but you can see it's trying to pull itself apart. Like, it's just not toleranced properly. And this figure has been on pre-order for like 5 years. Everything should be perfect. Continuing on, there's some articulation limitations. Now, kind of like conjunction junction. Kidding. Now, let me be clear. It's going to get everything you needed to get. As you can see here, it's going to pull off dynamic poses, but it is a little awkward. I think a lot of the shoulders lend themselves to the awkwardness of it. But in addition to that, you know, it kind of has a lot of bare minimum stuff here, or maybe slightly above bare minimum. Elbow gets you a little bit more than 90. Knees get you a little bit more than 90. And then the shoulders are kind of working against you. Like, it's just an awkward figure in that regard. And then there are a few little tolerance things here and there throughout the transformation. Once again, I think those things will probably break in over time. They'll loosen up over time, particularly that roof hatch that swivels over so you can plug the weapon in. That was the worst of the bunch for me, but also parts that formed the door/window, but really the bottom part of the door for car mode was a pain as well. And the last thing that I want to touch on is the fingers. I don't mind the articulation that's in the fingers. Like, I don't mind just the base joint and then one additional joint, but just straighten them out. Just straighten the fingers out so it doesn't look weird. Because now there's like got some sort of carpal tunnel going on. But yeah, that's all I got. Positives wise, it's kind of a lot of like standard issue stuff from Fanstoys. Paint is magnificent, sculpt is magnificent, materials feel great, comes with the appropriate accessories. It is nice that in some ways we got a little bit more articulation, specifically with the ab crunch, but still the rest of it is kind of like bare minimum. And the alt mode looks great. And I think the big takeaway here is once again, they've nailed another transformation. And we've just been seeing them do it more and more frequently. A lot of their transformations have just been a complete breeze recently, specifically compared to the days of old. And I think they deserve some credit for that. So yeah, it's a recommend for me. If you're happy with your MMC, your X-Transbots, or your Bad Cube, I'd say you could probably skip this. If you're not happy with them, it's worth picking up, but I don't think it's significantly better than any of the other options. And to be fair, I don't think any of the other options are terrible. MMC being my least favorite, but I think they're all better than the Takara offering, at least visually. But that's all subjective, and you may feel differently. Like Shmi told Anakin, what does your heart tell you? But I hope we'll see each other again. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Until next time, take care.